is on the doorstep.
Yes, good. It's been a long time. He says
That's right.
she's very, and that's all, because otherwise we'll be repeating.
Exactly.
Good.
So the order of events is that Vincent comes up and rings the bell and waits for a little while because you're in another part of the forest. Then we move back. You open the doors slowly in a rather sinister manner, but then completely change your tone, come up and greet him there. Okay?
And take his bag off.
That's right. I think the director's role is, as usual, quite important, particularly in a film like this, which isn't really a horror film. At least I don't think of it as a horror film. It's more of a murder mystery with horror overtones. And because of that, and because of the twists and turns of the plot, it's very necessary for them to know precisely what their motivation is for any given thing.
It's been a long time.
Ain't it the truth?
Ain't it the truth, though?
Oh, well, to me it seems like only 20 years.
Well, let me take your bag.
One couldn't work with easier people. They respond marvelously to direction. They know instinctively what to do. They're both extraordinarily pleasant people anyway. And one is terribly lucky to have them.
I think one of the things about horror pictures that are kind of fun, and I don't like to call them horror pictures anymore, than you do, thrillers or fantasy or gothic tales, is that they don't date. They go on playing year after year because, in the first place, they're mostly costume things, or they are beyond reality, and so they don't date.
Like a Western never dates.
No, a Western never dates. I'd like to see them really go off into real fantasy. I am very anxious to do a real thriller for children, where there is no blood, but all of the marvelous old things.
Rather like the old Lark
That's
House.
right.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
You know, where the creeping doors and all that thing. Because kids are the biggest audience in the world today.
Yeah. Well, look how they love Doctor Who.
Oh,
I don't know if you...
Yes, I did.
There were 2 films were made, and it's been a continuous television, hasn't it? BBC.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can mix science fiction with this sort of fantasy.
No.
It's a different... And science fiction, one feels, is an up-to-date thing, like these incredible things they're doing at getting to the moon, whereas I think if these are kept always... Not always, because this is a modern one, but I think keeping to sort of the the turn of the century is a wonderful time, and particularly for the children, because you've got the cabs and all this.
I love it. I've always wondered, though, why the best setting in the world for a thriller, a spooky picture, is always London in the fog, isn't it?
Do you know what they haven't used for a long time? One is an old castle.
Yes.
I mean, London in the fog is wonderful, and Sherlock Holmes and all that sort of an old castle with a note for the real, almost a ghost story.
Yes.
But you see, I think all of us, the audience included, we all rely upon the script, and it's the script writers. And if you're doing a Frankenstein or a Dracula, then it can only be a variation on the same thing for the very fact of what those 2 pictures are about. Whereas I think this script is very original.
No. Yes. Well, this is on the trolley when we pull Dr. Death on the trolley. Yes, that's fine. Well, it's day for night, so we shouldn't see anything of the face. Let me look at the profile. Put the cape on, Freddie. The whole point is that the figure is in long shot and glides away into the trees, so I must never see the face. Yes, that'll be good if the cape is well up.
Yeah.
Now, do me a favour and go up to that opening between the dovecots over there and walk across from left to right. When you get to the dovecot on the left, walk across very slowly. Just all the way. Rather a long room, this. Of course. It's shining in it. And close the window. That's a good space for it. Okay, Linda. Action there.
Now listen, you catch it straight up.
Now, you stop about there, that's right, and just look around a bit. That's right. Now walk on. That's it. Good. Good.
that is camp filming.
It must be a good year for blood, I think.
Action. If we'd built this at Twickenham Studios, it wouldn't really be giving us as much value. Also, of course, it would have cost a fortune to build it. You have to balance these things. On the one hand, you're taking longer to shoot it, but on the other hand, it's a cheaper place to shoot in. No, we mustn't turn that way. No, cut! One of the troubles here is that the film, I think, has been under-scheduled. One is expected to do far too much in a short time. In a studio, I think we would have worked faster. One can float walls and move things around much more easily. But you haven't quite got the atmosphere that we have in this place. And then it has to go much faster. Apart from that, it was lovely. But the point is that when you see the effects that we really want, when you see them in the old movies, they did it in the studio. So they didn't have this effect of all the wind blowing everything away and wrecking the shot. That's realism point. One of the reasons I'm making the film is because since I was a kid, I've been very much involved in this kind of film. Enjoyed it, I mean. The Gothic films, the films of James Whale and Todd Browning, they were my gods when I was a kid. The idea of a shot where a man in black with a funny hat puts a lady into a boat and sends her off into the mists, to me, is beautiful.